Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Okay. I'll try to keep an eye on Twitter to see if anything comes up. So we're live here with our first fireside chat. We have Audrey and Crystal and Katie. Brian was going to join us, but he had to bow out at the last minute. But we have 8 weeks of this, so I'm sure he can jump back in, and anyone else could jump back in if they want to. So I'll just go roundtable and introduce yourself, what you do, what you teach, how long you've been doing this flipping crazy stuff, and we'll start with Audrey.
Oh, okay. So I'm Audrey McLaren, and I'm speaking to you from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and I teach high school grade 10 science and grade 11 math. And I've been flipping since 2011, so that's what, 4 years, something like that. And it's an ongoing, process. I'm sure I'm going to keep changing everything I do, but it's great.
Cool. Crystal just kind of jumped out there. Aren't you back there? Are you there, Crystal, now?
Am I back? Am I back on?
Yeah. You were kind of like there twice. It was kind of weird.
Okay, sorry.
Doppelganger.
Okay, I had
so
to...
move on to Crystal. You okay?
Yeah.
Who are you? What do you do?
Okay, sounds good. My name is Crystal Kirch, and I'm currently a digital learning coach in Southern California. So I work with teachers, helping them find ways to effectively integrate technology in their classes. I was a high school math teacher for the last 7 years, so I flipped my classes for 3 years of that, and now I'm kind of in the role of helping teachers learn to do things like that as well.
Great. And next up is Katie.
Okay. I'm Katie Lanier, and I teach a PBL-type physics class in Allen, Texas, which is near Dallas. It's my 4th year of flipping, and the other half of my job is like Crystal's, where I'm an instructional specialist and work with teachers to learn how to integrate technology and then bring on a new learning management system. So it's kind of a dual job in and out of the classroom.
Great. And so I'll say I'm Ken. I've been flipping for a couple of years, coordinating this course that we're doing. It's an open course, free, online on flip learning, and this is the first week. We just got started. It's actually, I call it week 0, because people are just getting started, setting up their blog, setting up their Twitter account. The idea for the course is to reflect on their thoughts about flip learning before they start, and then go through the 4 pillars of flip learning, and we'll talk about that. I'll give them some links. Obviously, it's kind of flipped in that they should be finding their own material as well as digging out the material that I give them. And so we're just starting out with that. So we'll see if there's any questions. If not, did Audrey drop off again? And Crystal, it's just me and you. Oh no,
I see them both.
Flaking
so.
out. Yeah, it's just kind of stuttering on my end. So I'll just leave it open to anyone. So I know you're all blogging, and I'll give links to your blogs here for other people in the course later. But I find that faculty have a problem, at least from my perspective, of starting blogging, and why should they share what they're doing? So who wants to jump on that?
Talking about the teacher blogging?
Yes, teacher blog.
I can jump in there. I mean, I started blogging, I guess, 3 years ago now, right at the beginning of flipping, and it's been one of the most valuable things that I could have done, because I feel like, especially as you start trying new things in your classroom and making changes in your classroom, if you don't take that time to sit back, reflect, think about it, evaluate what's going well, what's not going well, if you're not purposeful about doing that, then it probably won't happen. I mean, because as teachers, our lives are so busy, and so just taking that time to reflect is huge. And then doing that reflecting on a blog where you can share with other people, I think, is just that next step, because then you can share experiences, you can get feedback, you can get ideas, know that you're not alone, that other people are going through the same, struggles, challenges, or successes as you, and it just really builds a community outside of the staff of teachers that you work with.
Excellent. I think that's great. And one thing, I show a lot of people that your blog as well, Crystal, because it's nice. Right at the top there, if you go to Crystal's blog, it says her reflections from, what was it, 2011, 12, and 12, 13.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great just to kind of go through and relive your first times, or first opportunities in flipping.
Yeah, I found myself going back and reading through those first couple of years just to remind myself of where I came from, especially when I'm working with teachers now, of where I was and the things that were going through my head, and just realizing again that it's a journey, and every year you continue to improve, and being able to look back and see where you were and being able to see your growth as a teacher, you don't have that if you don't record it anywhere.
Right, exactly. And that's why the last activity in this course is going to be reflecting on what they learned over the 8 weeks. So even just the 8-week difference from what they're recording or writing down now and what they're going to think about in 8 weeks from now is always interesting as well. But going back years is even better.
Your question was, why is it hard for some teachers to start blogging, I think?
Or why should they, or what should they be not scared of? Or
okay. Well, I've just, from hearing from the teachers that I'm in touch with, a lot of them are very hesitant to write. They don't feel like they're very good writers. And for myself, I love to blog for the same reasons that Crystal does, because if you make yourself sit down and organize all your thoughts, it's only going to make everything better. It helps you evaluate what you've been doing, and the thing I find I do is I go back maybe a year later when I'm just about to start the unit, and I'll read what I did last year. Go, oh yeah, that was pretty good, or no, that didn't work very well, or whatever. But I also enjoy the act of writing. Like, I really do love writing, not just about teaching, but other things. So I think some teachers think that you have to like writing and that you have to be really good at it in order to have a blog and put it out there and be public. But I think the trick is that you write for yourself, right? You do this for yourself, and think of it as if somebody else wants to read it, great, that's great. But I'm okay with just me reading it and using it for my own purposes.
Oh, that's an excellent point.
Valuable.
That's an excellent point. I've read a lot about that lately. That it's who cares if someone else is reading it? It's more for you. Oh, Kitty's got a cat.
Yep, the cat's visiting. I guess, I was kind of forced to blog with my master's program, and up until then I was intimidated because there's a lot of great folks out there blogging. So you read all these wonderful things and think, I don't really want to put what I would write out on the internet. So making that leap between what I would write ought to be out on the internet, or it didn't matter that it was on the internet, and needing to do that reflection, I think, was just forced because of the assignments I had. And it's been a good exercise. I've enjoyed the reflection, and I made the leap, and I don't care if anybody reads it. And it is for me, and I can keep the record. And now I wish I had started back when I started flipping, I can look back and go, oh, wow, how different things are now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I want to mention Twitter as well. And one of the things I wish I'd done when I first started flipping was get involved in the Twitter chat community. Mm-hmm. I totally missed that the first year or so. I got a question.
Chat that I participated in, that was just so mind-opening.
Oh, it just blew my mind, the first one.
Sorry,
got hooked. Totally. I had a question here from someone. Someone says, Guillermo says, if this technique should you only apply it to some of your classes or sessions, or should you just go whole hog and do your whole class? Or your whole semester or year? That's kind of the translation there. I'm trying to translate on the fly from Spanish.
Ooh, impressive. Can you read it to us in Spanish? No, never mind.
I'm not going to translate to French, though. What do you think? So should someone just do like a few activities, do one, do two, do the whole thing? What's the right way to start?
I'm just going to say there is no should, you know, it's whatever you feel is best. We're the best judges, and I mean, for me, I flipped everybody. I started with one group, and I was so thrilled with the results. I flipped everybody, and I've been flipping everybody ever since. And it all depends on how, you know, how you want to pace yourself. I was ready because I had a whole bunch of resources already made. I had a lot of stuff on PowerPoint already, and, you know, so I was ready. So for me, jumping in whole hog worked perfectly, but other people may not work so well for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Crystal?
I would. Oh, sorry. I mean, I would agree too. Audrey took the words out of my mouth. That there isn't one right way. It really depends on just how much time you have is definitely one important consideration. And for some people, this is a huge change, and so maybe starting small is right for them. Other people, you know, it may just be that they're ready to make a big change all at once, and that they can do it. But you do have to consider just how much time it would take you if you were to flip everything, because that is the most time-consuming part. The first year is getting your content together and getting those class activities together. But there isn't one, you're doing it right if you do it this way, you're doing it wrong if you don't. It's really just about that process towards, it's the journey towards transforming your classroom. And everyone goes at different paces, and it's just continuing walking toward that more student-centered classroom with flipped classroom. So that's my 2 cents.
Awesome. What's Katie have to say?
I dove in, I guess, head first and survived it. And but it made sense for what I was doing because we had a lot of things we wanted pushed into the classroom. Teaching physics, we didn't want to send all that work home anymore. So we had stuff we could bring in to occupy class time while we were trying to build some better activities. But I can see that if you don't have that already, the creating of the flip lesson that goes home, whatever that is, and the creating of stuff to fill the class time that's quality activities would be very, very time consuming and might be overwhelming. I mean, if you're going to go all in, find a friend to do it with.
Yeah.
But we have folks that are successfully flipping random things that make sense. We have folks that are using just elements of flipping at our high school and they haven't flipped anything because they don't send homework home. So it doesn't make sense to create the homework, but they use other things. So a lot of it has to do with the content that you're teaching. What can you bring into the classroom after you've removed something from it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's constant transition, right? I mean, I'm still playing with my VoiceThreads. They're getting shorter and shorter all the time. I'm down to like 40 slides, you know. I used to be up to like 80 and 90 for some of them. Like, I don't know what I was thinking.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you say, Katie, I moved some of what was in that into the classroom because I realized this belongs in the classroom where we're all there working together and I can contribute. You know, I think of it as the boring stuff. The boring stuff goes in the video. You know? Interesting stuff is when we're together.
It's a good way to look at it. I like that. I like that, though. I've got a question. I've got a couple questions here, so I'll try to relay them through. Angela Brenneman. I don't think Angela's in the course. She's just following flip class. I'm having difficulty finding the time to blog. I know it's very valuable. Any suggestions?
Keep it short.
That was short and sweet.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be long, but when I first started blogging, I set aside time every weekend to blog. So this was pre-kids for me, so it's a little different now, but I'd either sit down Friday night or Saturday, and I'd probably sit down for 2 hours, either Friday, 2 hours, Saturday, and blog. I just had so much on my mind. And then I would blog when I felt inspired throughout the week. I didn't blog once a week through this process, and that really helped. You know, saying I'm going to blog every week, and this is week 1, week 2, week 3, and that kind of held myself accountable, I guess, knowing that I wanted to do this once a week. But it is, I mean, it is a time commitment. Obviously, keeping it short helps, but realizing that it's valuable and setting aside a chunk of time to do it is kind of the way that made it work for me.
Cool. Anything to add there, Katie, for advice on getting started?
Yeah, I don't know. It's for me the hang up is thinking of what to say. So having a plan, and like Crystal was saying, I'm going to just reflect on the week one, or talk about what my day was like, or pick a specific activity that you're following might help you set aside that time. But I get bogged down in the what is it that I want to reflect on this week. There's so many things going on. How do I focus on that one itty-bitty thing? So I'm probably useless for this question.
Okay.
An interesting
Well,
blog.
sometimes.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Audrey.
Justin Ion. Have you heard of him? He blogs every day. He never misses a day. Fascinating. And I think that it must be just the kind of thing that you don't even give yourself an out. You just, I can't do that. I can't blog every single day.
Right.
But, you get addicted to it in a way. Like Krista, you said sometimes you sit down for 2 hours. I remember one time sitting down, starting my blog, and then it was literally like 3 or 4 hours later, and I hadn't felt any time go by, because when you get involved in it, you don't really feel the time passing. But once you start doing these interesting things in class, I find I get to a point where I can't not blog about it. I'm so excited about it, or I'm so disappointed about it that I can't not write about it. I have to get it out and just get it out of my head. Yeah, that's part of it. Is you'll start getting so excited about something that's happening that you want to put it down somewhere and tell people.
Right.
Yeah, you'll feel like your head is exploding, and you just have to get it out. And your husband doesn't want to listen to everything because it would go on for hours, so you have to blog about it because it's the place to write. But sometimes I would start the post at the beginning of the week and maybe add even just some bullet points or just short ideas throughout the week. And so then at the end of the week, I'd actually sit down to put a post together. But I kind of had some key highlights from the week I wanted to sit down. I just didn't have the time to fully write about it during the week. So that's a strategy that might work as well.
Yeah, I like that suggestion. Actually, I've got probably 12 posts in draft mode that have been there forever. But realizing that you can have drafts in your most blogging platforms, you can kind of put something up on Monday and an idea. Sometimes it's just an idea I put up there and I go, I got to blog about this sometime. And so I've got all these drafts sitting around. But maybe going through the week, if you're trying to weekly process. But yeah, those daily bloggers just blow me away. I follow a few like that. Definitely. I think the other input I would is if you read a lot of blogs, you're going to get ideas to write blogs, or following Flip Class, or lately we've been having these kind of blast blogs every Monday for Flip Class. I haven't been for the last couple, but it's been great. Just kind of forcing us to blog about a topic was great.
That's another thing, is reading other people's blogs is a great way to start getting ideas of what to write about. I found I started reading and I started commenting on people's blogs, and then at a certain point I had so much to say in my comment, I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this over here, I'll get back to it.
Right.
And it also made me think about, Crystal, you said routine. I was at, Andrew and Cheryl's session at FlipCon. They were talking about how routine actually is a big creativity boost. If you have that routine time every day or every week where you set aside to write, it actually helps gets the creative juices flowing. So if anybody who's worried about what to write about, apparently that's supposed to be helpful. That's what they use for their own.
Very cool.
Great.
I like that. I like that. And everyone has blogs to read here. And actually the commenting part is really important. What part of this course isn't just teaching about Flip with this seminar, it's more about sharing, about writing blog posts and commenting on each other's blog posts. If you take a look at the way I set it up, it's this connected courses system where eventually when I've got them connected, people can see everybody's posts syndicated on our main course site. But if they click on any of those, it goes to the original blog as opposed to keeping everything focused on our one location. It sends you out to their blogs so that you're on their content location, and then you're contributing comments to their site. So trying to drive people content into their own domains is what we're doing this connected courses style.
Sounds
All right.
like Google Reader. Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah, it's a WordPress blog where it just syndicates everyone else's blogs. I'm doing this for my courses for undergraduate computer science as well. And my students are starting to get it. So it's cool. And they're starting to comment on each other's blog, which is really nice. They learn from each other. There was another question here. Guillermo had another question about so if you're going to become active in the classroom and on site, what about not using classroom space? I don't know if I'm kind of translating. It's more kind of our university centric about using different spaces on campus for your flipped activities in class time. Have you done any of that? Or gone on field trips? Or I think Katie did. You just did recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I go all kinds of places. We don't stay in class. We launch the stuff off the second floor balcony. We go outside and play. I take them to Six Flags, and they do experiments on the rides. So any excuse I can get to get out of the classroom, I'm all for it.
Excellent. I like that too. I don't do that much because we use computers all the time.
I don't do anything because I teach online. So
There's that too.
Yeah, I didn't leave the classroom too much, but in terms of redesigning the learning environment of the class, I think that's important too. If you don't have the liberty to have your kid launching stuff off the second floor balcony, even though that would be fun, definitely thinking of how you're going to design the space in your classroom to just facilitate the more collaborative, student-centered approach is key. So I moved away. I still had some desks, but I was able to acquire some tables and just the class was structured for the students to be working together, not focus on the teacher. I had like 3 fronts of the classroom. There wasn't one place where someone could walk in saying that's the front. It was just like the kids were always turning their heads going to where different things were happening.
that sounds good.
That's cool. Actually, the latest.
Beautiful classroom. It's hard to find me.
Exactly. The latest Flip Learning podcast with Joan and Troy, they talked to someone who was talking about classroom setup a lot. So if someone's interested in having the classrooms set up for a different type of space. That latest podcast, I can't remember the number offhand, just talked about that as well. So let me move on. So I'm almost out of time. What about Twitter? Why is Twitter so important? Because is it just for posting pictures of what you ate for lunch, or what's the confusion there? Some of my colleagues say I don't have time to use Twitter. And my answer is I don't have time not to use Twitter. So I'd like your reflection on that.
You guys go.
I've gotten the same. I've had teachers tell me that exact same thing, Ken, that they don't have time, and so I'm trying to at least get them on so they can experience it, because I think once they experience it, they'll realize just how valuable it is. But not only does Twitter become a community of people, but it's also where you can go for ideas. Like, you're connected with thousands of people that you may not ever meet face-to-face, and it took me like 3 years to meet some of you guys face-to-face. But if I need an idea or I have a question, like, Twitter is one of the first places that I go, because I can tweet something out, hashtag it with a couple things, and get responses within minutes or hours, depending on what time of day it is. So it's just such an amazing tool. You can connect with like-minded people that you would never meet elsewhere.
Yeah.
I agree. It's something to make time for, even if it's just fine to chat and participate once a week. At least dive in and do something.
Yeah, like the chat was what really, I was sort of not lurking exactly. I'd come out of my lurking space, and I was, participating and tweeting and stuff, but the first time I went to the Flip class chat, I just couldn't believe how exciting it was to hear from all these people, like-minded people, and also people with other ideas, and it's like a ginormous staff room, and you get to pick who's in your staff room.
That's what I was gonna say. It's ginormous, but it's all these great people you want to talk to, not the ones over there, chatting about gossip the whole time. even if it's not a like-minded person, it's people who are passionate. Obviously, they're taking the time to be on Twitter, and so they're passionate about their students, and they're passionate about learning, and you may have different ideas about how to go about that, but there's definitely that underlying unity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We've started having Twitter chats with our students, like all of our teachers and all of our students. We have once every couple of months or so, we all get on Twitter and just have a half-hour chat, just so we can all feel like a community. And that's the other thing, is you become part of all these other communities.
Mm-hmm.
That, like Crystal said, you would never have, you would never have had the opportunity. It's PD when you want it. The what you want when you want it.
Right. And it's also the people, especially on Flip Class Chat, but every chat I've been on is just so friendly. They'll go, oh, you're new, and you'll get just all these people welcoming you and trying to get you involved, but not pushing you too hard. Yeah, it's great. The only other topic I had, and we're going to run out of time, so we'll just do it quickly, is how to get started making videos. Or should you?
Well, I would recommend VoiceThread for beginners because it's way easier to use than Camtasia. It doesn't do as much as Camtasia, but it's easier to get started, and that's where I started. I'm slowly replacing them with videos, but videos I get carried away and have things floating around. A bit crazy.
I think it depends on the text that you have. I started with a document camera, and that's what I made my videos. And after like 6 months, I got Camtasia and figured that out. But just very, very simple. I mean, you could even do it with a little video, digital video camera if that's what you have. So you can learn all the high-tech stuff, but you don't have to start off that way. I don't think that should be your beginning area of focus, is making these professional quality videos. That will come, and is it even necessary to have super, super cool videos? I don't know.
I agree, yeah.
I hope it's not necessary.
It's more fun for me.
Work.
Because even the ones I think are super cool are probably not even that great, But adding cool editing stuff to it, I mean, that's fun to put in, but is that something you need to focus your time on at the beginning? Not at all.
No. I like what Jonathan at Flipping Physics says, and Keith Hughes also says on his videos about making videos, is just make it fun. Throw just random stuff in, whether it's like your kid walking across a screen, or a cat, or a funny hat in different videos, or what was the one I did on Monday? I said it was going to be short, and then it was like really long, so I put a blooper at the end saying, sorry, I said this was going to be short, but it was actually really, really long. It made a funny face. So just having goofy things in your video is just fine. It doesn't have to be professional. That's my thought.
The kids love the
All right.
bloopers, actually, and the mistakes.
Oh, I think so too. That's why I want to do more of those. I want to do more. I want to do more video. This year's one of my goals is to do more video for my kids. And for me, really. All right. Well, I think we're just about out of time, so is there anything you want to add before we sign off for this week? You're all invited anytime you want to come by. I'll be doing this probably Wednesday evenings and Thursday afternoons, because Kate Baker and Troy expressed interest in doing it daytime. And this will give different times for people to connect and check things out. And I'm getting a surprising amount of people actually asking questions, which is cool. I expected nobody to watch.
You're a good promoter, Ken.
Yeah.
Any last words for this evening?
Just go for it. Whatever little thing you do, it's going to make a positive difference. Whatever you do.
Thanks,
Do it.
Audrey. Crystal?
Just jump in, I guess. We'll keep it
Okay.
simple. Jump in.
All right. And
I
Katie?
guess do what makes sense and find a friend to help you. Is that?
Great, great. Well, thank you very much. And I also like to mention I met all of these people on Twitter before we actually all met in person. So I think that's really important. And it made actually FlipCon so much more interesting for me, because usually when I go to a conference, I don't know anyone, and I'm just kind of hiding in the corner and being my typical self that way. But I knew all these people before I came, so it was great. I could just talk to you right away. So thank you for this evening, and I'll wrap that up, and I'll send some links on the page with to your blogs and your Twitter handles as well, so people can check you out.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Great, thanks.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, and have a good night.
All right. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Cheers.
Good night.
Bye-bye.